RTX supercards are here from Nvidia. We got the 2060, 2070, and 2080. So we're going to check out some pricing, some performance, a ton of different performance numbers, and quite a few other little tidbits. So let us start off with the Nvidia page. We're going to get to see up to 25% performance increase. We'll go over specifically what they're talking about there pretty soon here in a second. But there's some pretty good upgrades basically from the 2060 to the super cards. So specifically the 2060 we're looking like up to 22%, so average 15%. So you're gonna get a little bit less averages obviously. So certain games will give you that peak performance, but pretty cool stuff there. Also there's an Nvidia Link SLI connector on the 2070, so if you want to run two graphics cards, so even more performance. But let's jump over to the specs really quick. So this is from WCCF Tech. They put them side by side, so a really nice comparison. So we're going to go over the big changes first from the regular cards to the super cards. So the 2060, the big changes are we're going to get some more CUDA cores. We're going to get a little bit more ROPs, which more gigarrays right there. The base clock is going up. The memory is going up to 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, so that's good. And the memory interface is jumping up to 256 bits, so more memory bandwidth there. So those are the big things for the 2060. Quite a few little changes there. And then the 2070 Super is going to get a couple upgrades as well that make it a little bit closer to the next series of cards. So you're going to get some more CUDA cores, some more ROPs, 7 gigarrays, a little bit higher base clock and boost obviously. And you're also going to get another power connector on the card. So for the reference design looks like, so that is a big change. And then the Turing GPU TU104 is going to use the same as a 2080, so you're getting really close to that 2080 performance there with the same GPU core basically. And then the 2080 Super, which we're not going to see performance numbers, but we're going to see performance numbers from the other two. A lot of reviewers have shown they actually have hands-on with the card. So a little more CUDA cores here, and base boost clock a little bit higher, but not too much else has changed with the 2080 Super. But pretty good overall. A lot of good upgrades for the 2060 and 2070, and then again for the 2080 a little bit. So that leads us into pricing and release dates. So the 2060 RTX is $350. The Super is going to be $50 more at $400, and the 2070 Super is going to stay at the same $500. Same $500 price. And then the 2080 Super is going to stay at the $700 price as well. So the 2070 and 2080 I think are being discontinued. Everyone mentioned that they're not going to be selling that anymore. But the RTX 2060 and the 2060 Super are both going to be options for $350 or $400. So those are your options there. And then again, the release dates are July 9th, I believe, for the 2060 and 2070 Super, and then July 23rd for the 2080. So those are the release dates for those. And then with buying the cards, you'll get a little bit of a bonus. I think Control is going to be included with all 3 super cards, as well as Wolfenstein Youngblood. So you're going to get 2 games, and these are RTX titles. So there's a couple ray tracing games if you want that realistic lighting performance, Battlefield Metro, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and then all these games are coming I think this year, so you're going to get lots more ray tracing performance games as well, so you'll get better lighting. So pretty cool there. That's finally becoming a thing. Should be solidified this year with actual more games that you can play, so that's good. And I guess that leads us into some performance numbers since we checked out all the specs and everything. So we checked out Gamer Nexus's Hardware Unbox, Linus Tech Tips, and AnandTech's performance. Some are videos, some are just like straight up write-up review. And we put a little list of all the numbers next to each other. We want to compare from different reviewers. They have a little bit different system benches, so obviously the numbers are a little bit different, and just actual GPUs you get a little bit of a performance difference. So we checked out Shadow of the Tomb Raider because that's the game they all had similar, and then they had a couple different resolutions, but 1440p is where they tested all the cards. Each one of them lined up pretty well there. So we get some good numbers from Gamer Nexus. Definitely check out his 27-minute video, it's pretty long, as well as Hardware Unboxed has a 17-minute video, and Linus Tech Tips, only 8 minutes, but they're all pretty good watches. Linus Tech Tips shows off some of the DirectX ray tracing, some performance numbers there, so you'll get to see that. And then Hardware Unboxed has like 12 games. Gamers Nexus does some really in-depth analysis, specifically like on heat and everything, and even game benchmarks and stuff there too. But let's check out some of the numbers. We just put them side by side in a little spreadsheet. So 1080p, you're looking at around, so on the left is the regular RTX card, and then on the right, the versus right number is the super card. So for the 1080p for the 2060 versus the super, you're going to get 97 between 97 and then 107 on the super card. So a pretty big jump there, 10 FPS. What's that, like 9-ish% increase for $50 extra. So that's a little bit of a jump. Gamers Nexus also did some overclocking numbers. So here is the Founders Edition 106 FPS on the 2060, and then jumped up to 113 on the super card. So pretty good there. And then we did a quick little average of the 4 numbers, this number, this number, this number, and that number. So the 4 reviewers averaged out for 63 FPS on the 2060, and then jumped up to 69 on the super variant. So that's about a 10% increase throughout all the reviewers. So that's a pretty good jump for the super cards, pretty good. And here is the 2070 numbers. You can check that out. Average 71 up to the super card of 82, about a 15% increase there. So a little bit more. And then also Linus Tech Tips did the DirectX ray tracing on medium. So they're getting around 95 FPS. They did 1080p for the 2060 super. So you're gonna get pretty good ray tracing performance numbers on those the 4 games that work right now, as well as a couple more coming out this year. So that is pretty good overall. And here's the Tech article. They do a lot of good write-up reviews if you're into some reading and everything. So some pretty good. They do some 4K as well. So awesome there. And so pretty much overall, you're getting some better performance for around the same price point. So that is pretty good from Nvidia. RTX cards are a little expensive still, but the performance is finally getting up to par with what we were kind of expecting them originally come out with. But you also get the ray tracing, so pretty good overall. So what does that compare to for AMD side, which we have their cards coming out, 3 graphics cards technically coming out in just this week as well on July 7th, so 2 days before these new super cards. So you're going to see the RX 570 and the 5700 XT. So these cards, we did a little bit of a video. You can check it out on the link below, link above. And we talk a little bit about the cards. AMD shows off their own performance numbers, and we'll see some more actual reviewers showing their performance numbers. But basically, the 5700 is going to compare with the super card because it's beating the RTX 2060 by, what's that, 16 frames per second. And then the 5700 XT beats out the 2070, I think, by around 10 FPS as well. So they're going to compete. It's around $20 cheaper for the it's $380 for the 5700 versus $400 for the 2060 Super, and then it's $450 for the 5700 XT from AMD versus $500 for the 2070 Super. So they're going to basically be pretty close in performance numbers and about the same in price. So you're going to get the extra RTX performance for the extra $20 or the extra $50. So that's up to you if you have one of the RTX games, and you'll be able to see if you can tell the difference between ray tracing on or off. Some YouTubers do some of their own video comparisons, and some of them guess wrong. So you'll have to test it out yourself. But pretty cool new refreshed graphics cards, super variants, basically the TI version of the cards, but they're making it a little bit more mainstream of a name so people can understand that it's better. So pretty cool there. Pretty cool from Nvidia. We got Lulu saying ray trace my eyes. So you like ray tracing in games, or you want it. It's a pretty neat feature for real-time lighting effects being traced. So And with that, we will have another episode tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific with some more tech and game news. Hopefully some cool new graphics cards or something like that. But we will be signing out. Pew, 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 pew.